Russia's oil empire is burning. Every week, new explosions rip through its refineries. They are hitting the very heart of Putin's economy. And in Moscow, the panic is spreading. Generals are being arrested and allies are disappearing overnight. Today, Vladimir Putin is hunting scapegoats for a war that he can no longer control. We saw that Defense Minister Shoigu, he's out. Presidential aide Patrushev, he's been demoted. And now, Foreign Minister Lavrov is also being sidelined. So now, Putin has found someone new. This is his new Deputy Minister of Defense. Her job is to fix the corruption that has gutted the Russian army, to end the nepotism that has made it impossible for Russia to wage war, crush the cronyism that has opened Russia to attack, to stop the attacks destroying Russia's refineries. But here's the question. If Putin is cleaning house, why are the fires still spreading? It's because the woman that he's chosen to fight corruption, she's not reform. She's family. She is his cousin. My name is Jason Smart. I'm a special correspondent for the Kiev Post and a national security advisor. What we see in Russia is, as always, incredibly interesting to see. Because today Vladimir Putin is in a difficult position. He sees that the people that he's trusted for years, many of them he's known for decades, can't keep up with this war. That somehow it looks like Russia is losing. But of course, Vladimir Putin has been a dictator for a long time. He can't admit that. He can never accept that perhaps he has made a terrible error in his 3-day special military operation. And so rather than admit an error, he has to find somebody who's responsible for this. It could not possibly be him. But this hubris has been the downfall of many leaders before. But his most recent steps are steps that I guarantee will make the situation worse for Putin. Because Putin today is doing things that are not rational. They are things that are in fact very dangerous for his regime. However, due to his arrogance, he probably won't recognize that. So let's dive into this, of what's really going on right now in Moscow. And we'll talk about what's happening here, where I am, in Ukraine. I just ask your help with one small thing. We're so close of reaching our goal of 250,000 subscribers. As you know, this channel exists to support Ukraine. So I hope I can ask you for one small favor. Help us to reach our goal by subscribing to this channel and liking this video, sharing it with others, and considering becoming a channel member today. Thank you. Today, we see that Vladimir Putin is invoking the ghost of Joseph Stalin. Today, we see that paranoia has become policy. And today, policy becomes terror. Joseph Stalin proved that ultimate power is built on ultimate paranoia. He did not just purge his enemies, he also purged his executioners. Look at Genrik Yagoda. He ran the NKVD, the precursor of the KGB, and he was in charge of the first show trials. But then, after doing this dirty work for Stalin, Stalin had him arrested, tried, and executed. Look at Nikolai Yezhov. He replaced Yagoda. But he also did everything that Stalin asked. He made Russia a terrible place to be with the people that he had killed. But Stalin did not thank him. Stalin purged him, and then Yezhov, it was the end of him as well. The lesson here, though, is seared into the mind of every Silovik, and it's very simple. Loyalty is not a defense. It, in fact, can be a liability. As time goes on, it does appear that Vladimir Putin, in his bunker, is becoming more and more paranoid. But even paranoia needs money to survive, and that is where Brezhnev's ghost returns to the Kremlin. We see that the Putin regime is not just a copy of Stalin. It's a hybrid. It combines Stalin's terror with Brezhnev's rot. The Soviet Union under Brezhnev was defined by stagnation. It was a stable gerontocracy that ran on predictable corruption. The elites were safe as long as they were loyal. Putin's system is different. It is unstable, and the corruption is far worse. Today, we see that Vladimir Putin is purging his own elites because the corruption is failing. He needs scapegoats for the failures that he himself has created. This hybrid of terror and rot creates a classic trap. It's known in political science as the dictator's dilemma. The dictator cannot trust the information he receives. His inner circle is terrified of telling him the truth. They know that bad news is a death warrant. Because the leader is blind, he must assume betrayal. He is forced to purge his most competent people. He replaces them with loyal and incompetent people, and especially family members. This is not a choice, it is a structural failure of the system. The ultimate hypocrisy is inside of Putin's own family. Putin is hunting for traitors, but he's ignoring the greatest source of the rot. A new investigation by Project confirms what all of Moscow already knows. Putin has installed at least 24 relatives in key state positions. This is a record. It is incredible, even by Russian standards, this degree of nepotism. His cousin, Anna Tsivileva, is deputy defense minister. She oversees a multi-billion-dollar budget. His daughter, Katerina Tikovna, she runs state AI, and she is also in charge of the drone funds. His other relative, Mikhail Putin, is deputy chairman at Gazprom. This is the third generation of Putin's feeding at the state trough. He's not purging for corruption. His family is the corruption. He is purging for failure. And this rot is everywhere. While his family robs the state, his propagandists rob the people. An agents of war investigation found their assets hidden in the West. In fact, they found the media bosses were selling a holy war to the people of Russia while at the same time buying mansions inside of Italy. They do not believe in the system that they themselves are paid to defend. Today, the elite corruption and the systemic nepotism are the final stage of decay. We saw the same thing happen in Romania in 1989. Nicolae Ceausescu believed in the secret. He believed that his security service had unshakable loyalty. He and his wife had placed family in every part of the state. In every agency were his relatives. The regime was bankrupt and the people were cold and hungry. And when the people rose up, the security forces stepped aside. They realized the dictator could no longer pay them. They could no longer protect their own assets. Today, Putin's Slovaki are looking at their Italian villas. They are asking the same question: who do we save? The system or ourselves? And today we see that the rot reaches the weapons that Putin parades as invincible. Today, the system itself is a hollow shell. A cyber operation by Inform Napalm and Phoenix proves this. They extracted classified files on the new Paslanets bomber. They stole plans for the advanced Su-57 fighter. The documents show a fatal, systemic dependency. These weapons, the state of the art, the best that Russia has, cannot be built without Western machines. Machines that Russia today is still trying to smuggle from Taiwan. Sanctions are not a nuisance in this case. They are a direct kill shot. And this brings us to the catalyst. Why is this meltdown happening now? And it's very simple. It's because the money is gone. The regime today is running on fumes. As of November 6th, Russia's oil infrastructure is crippled. Reuters confirms that the Volgograd refinery has halted operations. Ukrainian drones have struck 5 different distillation units. This plant alone processed over 5% of Russia's total refining. This follows the shutdown of the Tuapse port. What's incredible is that that attack halted what would have been 240,000 barrels per day. It severed a primary export route to China and to Turkey. Look at Russia's October oil and gas revenues. They've collapsed by 27%. The 10-month shortfall is now over $22 billion. Panic is terminal because the cash burn is structural. Putin cannot pay both his family and his loyalists. The loyalists are sacrificed to feed the family. So while his wallet burns, his influence is evaporating. Look at Kazakhstan. Kazakh President Tokayev has just visited the United States. He signed a critical minerals cooperation deal with Washington. This is a strategic severing of Russian control over Central Asia. The trip shows that today, Vladimir Putin can even count on his old friends. Kazakhstan is a country I've spent a lot of time in. I lived in Kyrgyzstan for 4 years and traveled there often. It is a country that historically had very close ties to Russia. But today, the Kazakhs understand being a friend of Russia doesn't guarantee you very much. Or just trying to be soft and not upset the Russians, That doesn't buy you security either. The fact is, it's much better to be aligned with the West. And today, Vladimir Putin is losing globally. Russia's influence is down, and Russia's military is a disaster. And meanwhile, the refineries are burning. But this is the very anatomy of a collapse. The purges are not gossip. They are paralyzing the state, and we see it every single day. For every general who vanishes, a ministry freezes. No one will sign an order. No one will take a risk. No one will move fuel or supplies. Look at the suicide, it was not suicide, of Transport Minister Starovoit. That sort of proves the case. His death was obviously not a suicide, but it was a message. It tells every bureaucrat, steal from us and you will die. In Putin's system, everyone must steal to function. The state is seizing up in terror. The war machine today is being dismantled from the inside. It is in fact Vladimir Putin who has probably done more than anyone else to destroy Russia. And this paralysis, though, that we see today is the most dangerous parallel of all. It echoes what we saw in August 1991. The Soviet Union did not collapse because of a NATO attack. It collapsed because the center stopped working. The state, Gazprom, and the ministries could not deliver fuel. They could not deliver money or have their orders enacted. It was a systemic failure, and the machine just simply stopped working. However, Putin's paranoia is both the cause and the effect. The economic failures drive the purges. The purges accelerate the paralysis. The Soviet Union died when fear froze its leaders. Russia is entering that very same winter. This is not just history repeating. This is the 1991 playbook accelerating. This is a dictatorship entering its terminal panic. So despite what the press says, things are not going well in Russia. Things are, in fact, getting far worse. And the press, though, it loves to talk about how Ukraine is getting beaten or how there's corruption in Ukraine. But do you ever once see a story about Putin's relatives holding all these positions? Never once. Ukraine's corruption is something that's being fought with, hence why it's in the news. Ukraine is doing its best to defeat this demon. But Russia, this is normal, and this is standard. But that's why Russia today is stuck. Things will not get better no matter what Putin does. There is no strategy that can get you out of a decision that's your own if you wish to keep repeating it. Vladimir Putin does not admit that he has a problem, and that is the first step. So looking ahead, we can be very sure that things will just get worse. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video, and consider becoming a channel member today, and leave your comments below. And do share this video with others. And as always, if you would like to help save the lives of Ukrainian soldiers, please see the first pinned comment below of how you too can donate from the Get Life-Saving Drones. As always, thank you for supporting Ukraine.